Hey, I'm Julia, and I'm from Bailen the band.
Hey, I'm Daniel, and I'm from Bailen.
Hey, I'm David, and I'm from Bailen.
I was thinking of changing my middle name to From, so it could just be Daniel from Bailen.
Oh, there you go. That'll work. So again, thanks for taking the time. And I guess my first question to you is, obviously this is a very challenging time for musicians. Venues are closed, festivals have been canceled. How are you all, managing with that?
We were okay until today. Um, Today was terrible. But so far we've been being really creative and writing a lot and trying to stay positive and um, let's see, um, like communicating with musicians all around the world with Zoom, which has been really cool.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think kind of the way that we've been coping with um, like the COVID cancellations and everything has just been to um, be forgiving with yourself and like try and communicate with people as much as possible. Like we just got off the phone with like all of our cousins who are spread out across the world and we're all like various forms of artists, like different mediums, but all creative people. So we've been talking a lot about doing some kind of like creative project together. And like I've definitely found that in my like isolation, because we're all three of us are separate, so we can't really like work on things together. Like I've had to be like self-reliant in a way that I am not usually forced to be. Like things that I rely on David or Daniel to do, like I can't really. So um
we've actually been more creative than usual though, because Julia will just like come up with a song and then email it to us, and then I'll like do some additional production, and David will do the drums and mix it, and then we'll have a song. We won't even have to
yeah,
Like talk to each
talk
other.
to
It's
each other,
amazing.
which is great.
it's great because like because everything else is so messed up, like we actually have to be nice to each other,
Well,
you know.
after a full year of touring in a van together, we were like, at the end of the year, the end of the album cycle came. We were like, wouldn't it be great if we just like never had to be around each other? It was like, careful what you wish for.
Yeah,
God delivers this like dystopia to us, and we're
Like
like, this is not what we asked for.
it's like, is this my simulation? Like
like
really?
like financially, it's not a ideal situation for any artist, but for like a touring musician, this is like what every touring musician probably dreams of. No, like not in all the good ways and all the bad, not in the bad way.
Right, no, no, it's like really a very serious case of careful what you wish for.
No, it's like whenever you're on tour, you're like, oh man, if I could only be in my bed, like watching Netflix, like not doing anything, like and like there was no FOMO, there was no like I
No
wasn't
gig
like
envy.
And
no
like I do
gig
have to like,
envy. I wasn't like looking at someone else's success. It's like that's exactly what you wish for.
well, actually, I don't
So
know.
how do you like it now?
I feel like I actually have a lot of like one of the things that makes me like really triggers a lot of anxiety for me is like just looking at social media a lot. And I feel like in order to be connected, like, and to communicate and to like feel like you know what's going on, like I feel so attached to my phone and my screens and like looking at Instagram or Facebook or whatever. And like I feel like it's a lot of pressure to like keep posting and like be like super amazing at social media and like to really capitalize on like everyone being on their phone right now. And it's just like it just feels like so much pressure.
Yeah, yeah. I have a question that you raised. You talked about, obviously you're all not together, but Julie, you're still providing songs. Do you think that something like this could potentially lead to different workarounds that you may never have thought of? That musicians could now work differently or collaborate differently. Could there be a silver lining in that, or some use to that we're going to try to we'll find new ways to do things?
Yeah, I think like this is all about like repurposing time and sort of like reassessing your strengths and like trying to push yourself to do things you wouldn't have otherwise done. Uh, and there is a silver lining in that, like you're exploring parts of yourself that you hadn't had time to explore before, or uh, like trying to learn tools that you haven't necessarily needed to rely on. before, or so like in that regard, there's a nice silver lining to it.
Yeah, hopefully we'll come out of this way more creative than when we started. But
Musically, I mean, is it? I mean, clearly, out of a lot of sometimes when we're faced with things, the creativity comes out. I mean, are you? I mean, do you think musically there'll be influences that we'll hear next year from you through this?
Probably.
Yeah.
I think like, I've always been kind of like of the mindset that it's really hard to be creative about something that you're experiencing in the moment. Like I always need a lot of perspective in order to like ruminate and like marinate in all of the feelings and things, because like I don't know, I think it makes for better content to like have like
Some distance.
Yeah, some like formulated thoughts on something instead of just like emotional brain splatter. But like I think sure, of course. Like I think we're gonna have like a whole generation of people that are traumatized like from this experience. Like it's crazy. Like it's horrifying what's happening, So like I think people will definitely be writing a lot about this. And I know that like I like just kind of journeying into like the world of like technology. It has been interesting. Like it's definitely like a huge learning curve for me, like in terms of expressing myself like with the computer as an instrument. So like
yeah, Julia's been becoming awesome at making dope beats. She's been so creative. We've been really creative the past 2 weeks. It's been really cool. I think we're on like 5 or 6 tunes. It's been fun.
How have you been engaging with your fans, your audience?
I think we've been. It's been a little more like, the one nice thing about like, it's like when we post, it's not everybody's at home, so no one expects like high production value. So it's a little bit like a little more relaxed. It's like, oh, this is like good enough. Like this looks like really shitty, but like everybody's gonna understand.
For a pandemic.
So like, as far as like posting stuff, it's like this doesn't need to look like we had like a photo studio or like
Yeah.
photoshopped anything. Like let's just post it because it has like, it's like nice and whatever. I think like, I mean, if you like, the thing that would be nice, like I don't know what is gonna happen, but like maybe like through all of this like the suffering that's happening now, maybe the art that's going to come out of it is more positive than it was before. Like, and like sometimes when when big national global tragedies happen, it's like the need for positive stuff is greater. So
Yeah.
maybe like, because we like the last few years it's been pretty dystopian, so maybe this will like encourage people to be a little more positive.
I feel like my instinct in all of this, like as a listener too, like is definitely been to listen to music that's a lot more chill. And like it makes me want to make stuff that isn't like doesn't ask too much of you. Yeah, it's like healing and feels like not anxiety provoking.
We were talking a little bit about that, Julia, before we started, about the idea of music and mental health, and obviously the importance of music to our mental health, and that's something that we can't sort of take for granted. How music can certainly help us through times like this.
Yeah, I was talking to my aunt the other day who has asthma and like is like at risk and all these things, and she was talking about how she's been singing to herself a lot, and like songs like what's it called, like glory glory hallelujah, like that's a song that like I sang in my children's choir, you know what I mean? It's a hymn and it's a beautiful song actually, and like I looked it up. I looked up like the lyrics because I didn't know all of them, and they're really, really beautiful. And it was written by this woman, Julia Howe, who was an abolitionist and like a suffragette, and like all. She was a really incredible woman in New York City, and like um, I don't know. It was just kind of like, oh, that's like totally not the song that I would think of in this moment, but like that's really cool. Like it's nice to think about a song that like I kind of passively knew and saw in that context.
Yeah, Daniel, David, what are you tapping into musically? What are you listening to now?
I listened to like the full 2 hour concert, like 1980 concert of the Doobie Brothers from Santa Barbara.
It's like straight up yacht rock. Let's go.
I was like, I'm gonna embrace this. I love. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna be there, baby. It's so good. The drumming is so good on that. It's amazing.
Let's see. I was listening to some John Prine since he hasn't been well. And I've been trying to learn an Anderson .Paak bass line every day.
But Anderson .Paak or Anderson .Paak? Siri says Anderson .Paak. I think it's wrong. I think it's .Paak.
That bass line is so dope.
I've been listening to so much Daniel Caesar.
I listen to Daniel Caesar. I've been listening to the stuff Julia sends me. She has some new songs that are just like killing me.
And then
So
No
good.
Name, also amazing.
So what I mean, as far as a lot of with the venues being closed, with not being able to perform, like what's your message even to the other musicians out there? I mean, the community itself on hey, let's pull together, let's work to get through this. I mean, it's a community, right? And and so many people are feeling it in so similar ways, and some people are struggling certainly just to pay the rent and the bills now, and lots of their gigs have been canceled for months. But what do what are your thoughts on like the best way to sort of get through it all, if as a musician?
That's such a good question.
That's so tough.
Trader Joe's.
What I've been doing is, so I have a student that's still paying me, even though I'm not teaching him, because he's a really nice guy. So I've been taking lessons with my friends. So I'm learning jazz guitar now, and I'm paying my friends with that money. Try to spread the love. So I'm learning jazz guitar and mandolin. So that's been pretty good. I don't know though. It's gonna be really hard. We don't make money off of record sales, and we can't play live. I think like the more we can do live performances online and like people can Venmo you. I hope people will take lessons now from artists, because I've been keeping most of my students and doing it through Zoom, and it's really fun. So I hope people can be encouraged to take lessons from artists, and hopefully when this all goes away, people will be supportive and go to concerts.
Also, like buy merch. Like you can still buy merch.
Yeah,
and
from like directly from the artist too.
Yeah, and like we were ready to go on tour in Seattle. Like we flew out to Seattle.
Yeah, we had a month-long tour with Grace Potter that got canceled. The day we
it actually just
there.
ended today. Today is the end date of the tour.
I didn't take out the gigs from my iCal, so it was like, I'm not in Aspen right now. It would be nice if I was in Aspen, but I'm not.
I know. But we do have like so much. I like ordered a bunch of merch for that tour, and like
half of it is sitting in Seattle.
Yeah.
In our
some of it's in LA. There's merch in LA, there's merch in Seattle, and there's merch here.
Yeah, but that's a good point, right? You can the audience can buy merch. You can still support the artist, right? There are ways to support the artist. Keep it going.
Yeah.
Unless our cousin Ricky has sold all of it on the black market.
Yeah, he's like, who wants Bailen merch?
Throwing it off his houseboat into the Seattle Sound.
I mean, it's also like one of those things where, like, what if like TV? I don't know. It's hard to like suddenly reroute your career to like retrofit some model that like you haven't been pursuing. Like right now, our whole enterprise is very focused on touring financially. And so like what if we were to switch and like do more TV and like film spot things, you know what I mean? Like making music for sync or stuff like that. But it's really hard to just like suddenly make that shift. And it's just
I mean, touring is so expensive to like get everywhere. Like maybe we can use this moment as a time to play virtual concerts and not have to pay for plane tickets or gas.
Maybe it's a way for like like musicians and the music community to find like different outlets of income, because I mean
there's so few that like make actual sense. Like the business model doesn't really make any sense. So
maybe we'll brainstorm for the next few months and figure out a more sustainable way of life.
yeah.
But I think people are realizing that you can function on Zoom and on Skype or whatever your choice is. So maybe this will encourage people that when this is over, you can like
you don't have to
do
go
more.
outside.
Do more.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought I would be doing interviews in my living room. So yeah, even on my side.
Exactly. Well,
I
so when I'm home from touring, I do have students, and when I go on tour, I don't teach, but maybe this will encourage them to keep taking lessons while I'm on the road.
Yeah.
So, because it's been working out so well.
I just feel so lucky that all of this technical infrastructure already existed before this happened. Like, I can't even imagine. Like, I was talking to my friend, a lot of friends of mine are actors, and like, they're just like sending in tons of self tapes, and like, it must be so nice to like already have that infrastructure in place. And like, I think it's very strange to like feel a sense of normalcy in that, like when everything is so strange right now. But like, I feel like pretty grateful for the technological aspect of this whole thing.
But there's something that can really replace being live in the moment. Like a lot of what I feed off of is like playing our songs for people in the flesh and like really having that experience. So
the performer in me is like,
I mean, we can go on and on about how like we can learn and change, but I mean you can't really beat that experience. So I'm really looking forward to that coming back.
I also think like it's super easy to feel like what you do is not essential. Like if it's been deemed not essential, you know what I mean? And like somehow that gets to you and makes you feel a little bit insecure about your
Yeah, I don't know. I think from our perspective, more essential than ever.
Yeah, I think so
we
too.
need you.
Like it's an important thing to remind it's hard to remind yourself that, like when you don't have like people in front of you.
Yeah.
And so like I think it's important to like really reflect on like how much art and music and theater and like all of these beautiful expressions of the range of human emotion like make us human, like the things that are not necessarily crucial to our physical survival, but like very crucial to our emotional survival. And like that's worthwhile.
Yeah.
And I think you all referenced the importance of connectivity, right? I guess your advice for those who might be, sitting at home and dealing with their own, mental health challenges at this point to connect, right? To keep those connections going.
And it's, I think, like extremely challenging to fight depression when you're isolated like this. Like it's really hard. Like a lot of people that struggle with that in their daily life, like I think are having a really tough time with that, understandably. And so it's important to like reach out and, be vigilant about, maintaining connection, because you really have to seek it out right now.
And like talking about it, making sure people know, like if you're down, like just say it and ask about it from your friends. It's not taboo. That's the thing. It's like the like your mental health is not taboo, and if you're feeling like you're in pain or you're suffering on a deep level, then like it's important to let people know or bring it out of someone if they need help.
Yeah, I've always found it really challenging to like make a call when I'm feeling really sad. Like sometimes I feel like in the moment, like it feels like so much work, or it feels like somehow burdensome to people to like reach out and ask for help in that scenario. And like it's so important to do that, because it's like it's never going to really be a burden to anybody, and it'll just cause like you so much pain to not reach out like that. And like so many times like in the last couple of weeks, like I have felt so sad, just like so sad and like needed to talk and like needed to FaceTime with someone that like I know cares about me, or like that I feel like myself with, and expected the conversation to be like gloom and doom. And then like I've I'm just like consistently surprised that like every single one of those conversations like includes laughter and like is really healing. So
Yeah.
Yeah, like today.
I also
yeah.
have my stress putty. It's really important. This one is the medium to soft.
I think everybody needs some of that stress, buddy, right now. That's a pretty good thing to have. Is there anything I didn't ask you all that you would want to add before we go?
Well, that I think it's also important that like we acknowledge that it's not just going to be um right now. Like I don't think that the hardships that this global pandemic or is like causing is going to stop with the end of quarantine. Like these challenges are going to persist because of all the economic fallout and like all of these things, and it's really important to be vigilant about that and to continue to care for one another beyond quarantine. And like when all of these things like when all of like the immediate care goes away, like that people are still hurting, like people are still being affected by this.